Our scene begins in the inner sea region. Falling down from the clouds, you think you're going to land on the island of Absalon, but no. The scene shifts towards the desert lands of Osirion, comparable to our Egypts of old. Near the mouth of a river, the river Sphinx, the capital city named Sothis. Now, contrary to popular belief, the city does not sit right on the river, because during the flooding seasons to this sort of Nile, as it were in Egypt, the city would flood. They actually set the city 12 miles to the east of the river, and they have canals cut, man-made, out to feed the city with the lifeblood of the desert. And there are 3 canals that strip straight through the city itself. Taking a moment on good old Roll20, some love it, some hate it, but hey, I pay for it, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to take the players to an unmarked map of Sothis, the city itself, and you see how coming off from the top left, the northwest, the large canal coming down, branching out into some smaller canals, feeding the left side of the city and giving the city life in the desert, because, well, if you don't have water in the desert, you're pretty much, not going to last very long. The metropolis of Sothis has a population of about 111,000 people, 87,000 which are human. We have about 6,000 dwarves, 4,000 halflings, 3,000 elves, 2,000-ish gnomes, 1,900 half-elves, and down it goes. Geniekin, the Efreet, the Sylph, also prominent at 1,500, down to 1,000 half-orcs, and about 3,000 other races. It is the capital. It is where boats come to experience this lost Indiana Jones type land. The Pathfinder Society, well, they do have a lodge here, set up, funny enough, in the Sphinx district, right next to the Church of Pharasma, where we go now, locked up in one of the offices in said church. An elderly man, and I do mean elderly because we did stick him with the old template. Let's meet Frank Hamilton. Frank Hamilton, tell us a little bit about your mainstay character for this series.
Let's see here. Well, I'm going to be playing Old Man Arif, or Master Arif, and he's an old Kelisite cloistered cleric. Yes. Most of his life has been spent in the dormitories, in nose buried deep in librams to learn things about both places and people and the histories of this world that we gather in. Every now and again, people will come and ask me about my particular skill sets, and I will help them as needed.
Now, you said Katapesh.
And basically, that's how he's kind of lived his life.
So, Katapesh to the south, the Arab sort of brother with the sultans that have come far from the east and even bigger land, have conquered Osirion a couple times over during their long pharaoh reign. Egypt, ours, has about 3,000, 4,000 years. These guys have like 12,000 years of pharaohs rising and falling in the area, in the lands, buried. There's a lot of lore here. Have you come to study specifically that lore? Obviously, you're not the man from Osirion, or have you lived here long enough to become him?
Well, I've been here almost long enough to call myself a local. I mean, most of the people running around, I'm a shade older than them. Obviously, I mean, look at me. But yes, I've become somewhat of an expert on the local Osirian cultures and skills of the past. It's where I find myself most useful to travelers and such.
Well, sir, Master Arif, may I call you Master Arif? Because not only are you a 5th level cloistered cleric archetype of Pharasma from Katapesh, learning the lores and traveling Osirion, we have placed you in the 4th to 5th tier group in a Pathfinder Society adventure called Destiny of Sands. 3 parts. But from this focal point, from the starting point, we're going to go back into your past and delve perhaps into the Library of the Lion several years ago, even further back, delving into Entombed with the Pharaoh and the Stone Pack Pyramid, and forward in time, approaching 7 years later from Entombed, actual mummy's mask. But I digress. For this series, The Man From Osirion, welcome to a seriously lighthearted spy movie with a really, really old cleric who is going to tell his story, documenting it on parchment, scroll. Perhaps you've got a lackey running beside you, scribbling as far as you go. Perhaps you've returned and you've already written a bunch down. We're going to see this story through Master Arif's eyes. He will be handling a lot of the prologue lore and the lords of the Lady of Pharasma, Lady of Death and Fate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Man from Osirion.